Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our latest edition of Shots of Legend. Today we'll be talking with Russel, president at Maan Robinson Studios, who's going to tell us about his projects, dreams, goals, what he's willing to achieve in the next couple of years. So stay tuned and don't forget to follow us on our social media. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Russel. How are you doing today? How
I'm
is your day?
having a blast out here today.
So welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here on Shots of Legends.
Definitely. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. So how is Atlanta today? How is everything going there? How is this journey of yours as a filmmaker? Can you tell about the day and the energy today? How are you feeling as a filmmaker?
I'm absolutely feeling actually great today. We actually have a production that's going on right now. So I actually stepped away from set to come and do this interview with you. So for me, it's an exciting day. Any day that the cameras are rolling, I'm having an absolute blast. So it's an awesome day in Atlanta. Weather's a little gray outside, but it's beautiful either way.
No, that's great. That's great. So talking about this side, how do you see the film industry in the US lately?
So I guess my take on the film industry right now in the US is that I would say since the boom of streaming,
Yeah.
it's an independent boom right now, independent filmmakers,
Yeah.
and pushing the whole industry forward and driving the industry. There's a lot of independent production companies that are picking up cameras, turning them on, and then cranking out, great films. And with streaming change, the way that streaming has changed with the networks as far as Netflix, Amazon Prime, and all that, Tubi especially, has given an opportunity from filmmakers from all across the country to have an opportunity to get their films out. So I would say now, if you look at the film industry, even though there's a strike going on the independent side right now, there's a huge push and boom on that side of the industry.
So talking about this strike, we see strikes lately, SAG-AFTRA and so many others are fighting for their rights, if we can say it this way. How do you analyze, how do you assess the fact that so many filmmakers, nowadays complaining about these whole things that is happening in the film industry? I'm just asking, yes, how do you assess the fact that the independent filmmakers are struggling to turn their ideas into reality, and somehow they are struggling to have the same right like other people?
So I think, the strike is twofold right now. And, we as a company, Maan Robinson Studios, we stand with the union. And, I personally, and we all believe that, let's put some more money in our writers and our actors' hands and make sure that they're protected. So, as far as from how we look at it, let's give it to them. But at the same time, the strike now is going to hurt, a lot, because people are not going to have jobs. Crews not going to be able to go into work. So, for the most part, it is going to be tough for them, throughout this process. So that part may be a little unfortunate for some. But on the independent side, here, Maan Robinson himself, he writes a lot of the projects that we shoot. And so we're going to continue to roll, respect the strike in all ways. But at the same time, we're still going to turn our cameras on and just shoot non-union projects right now.
So talking about Maan Robinson Studios, can you tell us about the project, your latest project, and how is everything going?
So our latest project is Sebastian.
Yeah.
And that's currently on Tubi. It's been out about 3 weeks right now. For us, that was a project that we wanted to show the world what we could do creatively as a team and what type of quality that you can expect from us in the future. That movie was put out to set us apart from other filmmakers. It's levels to this. So you'll see some, bottom of the barrel, you see some at the top, you see some in the middle, and we plan to be at the top. So when you watch Sebastian, we try to give you a different feel from what normally you would expect from a Black independent filmmaker. We have white leads, we have Black leads in that film. So it's a combination of both. And it gives us a sense of diversity. At the end of the day, our world isn't all Black, isn't all white. We all exist together. So that's one thing we wanted to show with that film is that portion of it. But it's doing very, very well. You know, a little information that no one knows that we literally found out today, but it will be releasing on CW Halloween night. So definitely, if you're watching this, you know, put that on your calendars, you know, and so that alerts you and lets you know to check out Sebastian on Halloween when you're celebrating that holiday there.
No, that's great. That's great. So just looking to the journey, how long have you been working as a film company? What are the challenges? If you analyze this whole path, what are the challenges
Yeah.
that you think that are actually postponing somehow this dream of yours of becoming this large filming company in the US context?
Well, we already are a large film company, but I would
Okay.
think the struggles and part of getting there was being, you know, it's the same thing. I would think the same struggles that most of us have in the world today that is, you know, sometimes racially motivated in certain situations. And I think that the barriers for entry for us were a little harder to get in simply because of that. And us going the independent route and saying, hey, we're going to do it ourselves,
Yeah.
gave us the opportunity to get past that and still be able to reach, you know, reach our community and put our stories out unfiltered. And I think that's the most important thing that we get to do now is that we get to tell our story from us without someone saying, we might need to add a little more of this or a little more of that, which may not be, you know, feasible for, you know, what we're trying to depict in our films. So I think that's a challenge. And I think for most you know, for most filmmakers as well, you know, this isn't a cheap thing to do, you know, so that you have to have the capital to get to where you're going. And then on the last part of it is the sacrifices that you have to make, you know, time spent with family, your personal time, your personal finances, whatever it may be to get there. And I think most people, when they're on this journey, sometimes they fall victim to that sacrifice and say, hey, you know, when things get a little tough, and we've had our tough times like anyone else, but we've managed to make it through those successfully. And we're here today standing strong.
So do you think the Black communities is gaining more access to the filming industry? If you analyze how it all started, how it's all going, do you think it's more easier today for a Black man to build a company, to turn an idea, a script into a movie, etc.? Do you think, how do you access these whole things?
I would say there used to be gatekeepers, and now those gatekeepers don't exist. Well, they exist in certain regards, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But now the opportunity to be able to take our project, put it on a platform without having to go to this person that says yes or no. I think with the internet, with social media, with that access, people as a whole, everyone now has an opportunity. At first, it was one great comedian or one great actor, but you can turn on your Instagram and your social media now. You can see funny people all over the place. So I think that in itself has opened up the industry for everyone, and not just the Black man, but from a Black standpoint, having to deal with those types of barriers simply because of who we are sometimes. Those don't exist. It's really in your hands now. If you want to be a filmmaker and you have a dream that you want to turn to a reality, it's a matter of putting it on paper, getting, you know, putting your resources together and turning your camera on and shooting it. So for a person of, I would say not just Black men, but I would say for minorities in general, you have the opportunity now to get there.
So, as a president of Maan Robinson Production, which kind of story do you think are you willing to tell? When you just look at, when you analyze the whole genres, etc., the story you think that might impact or might change paradigms, which kind of story do you think that you're willing to produce at your film company?
I think the type of story we want to tell a lot of different stories. You know, life is a great place where there's a million and one experiences. So we try to tell our experience as true to us as possible. But the story that we want to tell for the most part is that if you work hard, if you put it all in, and you don't label things dreams, you label things your reality, and you make it happen. We want to tell a story that you can get there. And we want everyone to know that it's not a matter of nothing but sheer hard work. And that's really what it is in all aspects. You have to bring quality. Don't get me wrong. Quality is important. That's what gets you notoriety.
Yes.
But you can almost outwork nowadays. And so that's the story that we want to tell. When you see our films, know that there was a lot of work, blood, sweat, and tears that went behind it. There were situations where we were told no's and made them yeses. There were obstacles and hurdles and all types of challenges. So when it gets to the screen and you finally see it, it looks beautiful. When you see us on social media, it looks great. You want to jump in like, oh, that's awesome, and which it is. But there's a lot of work that goes behind it.
So why building a filming company? Do you still remember how it all started, this passion of becoming the professional you are today, a filmmaker? Can you tell us, can you share these memories of yours, how it all started, people that might have impacted your life to make this decision, people, those people you just look in the mirror and say like, well, one day I'm willing to become that guy, or even if it's not to become that guy, but actually surpass that kind of production that guy is doing, is making. Can you tell us about this process, how it all started, people you admire in the film industry?
So for me, it started in the music industry, actually. And I went into the whole filming aspect. I had a different company when I first started, and it was going to be a multimedia company. And basically, we were going to record your music, shoot your video, and do your EPK, your interviews, stuff like that, and ultimately get you out. So I started, and from there, it kind of drifted solely into music, where I became a publishing company called Cool Boy. And with Cool Boy, we worked with different artists, labels, and we shot music for producers and writers that were signed to the production company. So our first location for that was inside of the 139 Ralph McGill in Atlanta, which actually happened to be the previous home of the Dungeon family, Goody Mob and those guys, and Outkast and everyone else that kind of went through that space. And we ended up, finding it and getting that location. But that building ended up getting sold, and we got kicked out basically. So I was on Craigslist looking for another studio location, and I came across an advertisement. It was down across the street from Magic City at the brick building right next to the Amtrak station, Greyhound station. And opened up a studio, went in there, and it happened to be Maan Robinson location. First was one of many locations in Atlanta. But it was his location at the time. And so at first he was like, man, I don't want any rappers in here. I don't want the hip hop thing going on in the back. Y'all, smoking weed and all types of people in and out. And I was like, nah, like, I think I might've been in a suit or something, but I was like, nah, I'm a professional, and my studio is simply for my company. And it's not for us to rent out studio time. It's for us to create our projects and, shop them around. And so he kind of liked the idea, and ultimately we ended up moving into the space. So we were there for about, I would say 4 or 5 years or so. And I swear, every time I walk by his office, man would look out the door and say, hey, man, you should forget that film. You should come. I mean, forget the music. You should come to film. And I'd be like, nah, man, whatever. I'll figure it out. Just kind of laugh it off, joke it off, whatever.
Yeah.
So he just kept it every time I walk by. What you gonna do, man? Let's put it together. So one day he said, man, let's open up a larger studio and open up a larger film studio. We can bring in film companies, So, at the time I was a little skeptical because I hadn't done anything in the film industry. But throughout that time, we just kept kind of keeping in contact. I would go to his, office, or we'd go to his home, and I'd be like, so what I'm gonna do? He looked at me like, shit, I don't know. And I didn't know either because I hadn't, been a part of the industry. And so finally COVID happened, and it came a time when we were about to shoot the film Super Turn. And he said, Russ, he gave me a call. He said, Russ, it's time. And when that happened, we started meeting, and we started putting the film together as far as pre-production. And this is actually like kind of my first time on set and actually even working, in this type of capacity. So when we finally get to set, I'm a natural hard worker. I'm a leader. I'm gonna lead from the front. I'm gonna take control, and I'm that type of guy. So naturally, I'm running around set, and before you knew it, I knew where everyone was, what had to go where, what locations needed to be set up, everything. I mean, you can ask me anything on set, and I literally could do it. And it's just kind of a natural skill that I have, and I would say kind of my superpowers. I'm an operations guy. So one day, man walks up to me and said, I figured it out, bro. You're the president of the company. and that's because I produce, and I produce
Yeah.
very well. And from there, we rolled on, and we're here today. Going strong. I would say about 9 years into it together, as working. Whether it started from the music until now, but I've been there pretty much from turn to super turn, and we'll be there for the rest. So that's how it all started. And then I found my passion.
Yeah.
It's one of you feel like I love doing this. I don't feel like I'm going to work. It's like I get up and go have fun every day and go home and talk about it.
No, that's amazing. That's great. But where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And which kind of project, of major project, you think like it will be great to turn this idea into reality in the coming years?
I would say 5 years from now, we will be one of the largest independent film companies. Being that we're not just filmmakers, we're not just creating a film here and dropping this film out, putting this film out or whatever the case may be, but we're an actual film company. So our company has, not only do we produce films for ourselves, we produce films for other networks, productions, companies. We have distribution as well, so we distribute other films. So if you're a filmmaker out there, you need distribution, we can get you on any one of the networks. We have relationships with them all. We also have acting classes, so there is I would say a school type of side of this where we teach people different skills and send them out into the workforce. We also have network mixers, where we bring people in the network to build the actual community here in Atlanta. And I think that's what the city needs. And we want to be the forefront of that for the city. Types of films, the films are going to get bigger and better. Bigger budgets don't always mean better film, but it can get you certain things, certain actors that you may want to work with and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. But how do you survive as a film company? Like, do you depend most of on investors? I mean, sponsors, or you feel like your own job gives you profit so you can keep moving? How do you manage this whole stuff?
It all comes from the company. So all of our projects that you've seen come out, it's all self-contained. There's no, financing or anything like that outside of us. It's all literally comes from home, blood, sweat, and tears. And that's how we're doing this. How do we maintain? We get up every day and put one foot in front of the other, and it's working.
No, that's great. But have you ever have you ever thought about giving up? You mentioned the phase of COVID-19, etc., and the impact of it in the film industry, in your production, etc. Just looking to that phase and other maybe difficulty you may have faced in the past, have you ever thought about giving up in this dream of turn this your studio?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah, I've definitely been there. I mean, I think we've all been there in life where your back's against the wall and you're like, what am I going to, what I'm going to do? And I remember calling man one day and I was like, bro, I'm about to get a job. He said, you about to go work at Walgreens? So he clowned me basically.
Yeah.
And it was things that was like, you got to think about it and, what's truly your passion, what really fuels your spirit as a person. And I think a lot of times we get sold on the comfortability of life. Having a job is being comfortable. And I think as a man being uncomfortable creates growth and progress, right? So, naturally, or of course, I definitely didn't go and get a job, but I'm glad I didn't because I would have gave up. And I think, those sacrifices and understanding that there's going to be hard times. Know that those times are going to come. Know there's going to be times that you're going to have to figure things out. And one thing we are surviving people is just as a people, we survive the worst of things. And the things that we think are the worst at times, when we finally look back on it, you look back after you get on the other side of it, you're like, oh, it really wasn't even that bad. But in the moment, sometimes you get caught in your thoughts. You may be fearful of what happened in the past, creating some sort of doubt, don't know what your future is actually going to hold. But you got to keep the faith in what you're doing and know it's a knowing. I know where we knew where we were as of today. We knew that this was on the horizon, but sometimes the world and just your own mind kind of plays tricks on you and says, hey man, go get that job. It's a lot easier over there. But it may be easy at that moment, but it's not going to truly be what is needed to fulfill you as a person. So yeah, giving up's not an option. My dad was one of those guys that taught me that we never say I can't or I couldn't or any of that type of stuff. I'm a can do, will do type of person. So no
Yeah.
matter how tough it gets, we gotta fight through it.
No, that's powerful. That's powerful. So, but which kind of film industry do you think we are building now? Do you think the film industry is evolving, or they might be lacking something? I'm asking this because what many people, I think, have been calling the golden era is about to retire. We see people like Denzel Washington, we see Clint Eastwood, Robert De Niro, Spike Lee, and so many Tarantino, and so many others. In the next 10 years, maybe they will be thinking about retiring. Which legacy do you think they left to the young filmmakers, to the young actors, actresses? And do you think the film industry is ready to turn pages and build something new? Which kind of film industry do you expect in the coming years? If you analyze the fact that many people might be retiring in the next 10 years or 15 years from now.
I would say that, those guys paved the road for us. They have set us up in a way that people respect the film craft. But you're right, it's going to come a point where all of our legends are going to move on and, and do other things, hire and, just get to enjoy life and the money that they made over that time. And so it's going to create a natural void or a natural opportunity for people to emerge as great actors, for directors to emerge and take over the industry. I see the industry is already shifting and changing now, but I see it shifting more towards the independent filmmaker, and that's simply because of the streaming opportunities that are out there. And I think there is almost like a new gold rush. It's like, hey, all of a sudden they pulled down the walls and we can run in now. So the guys that are running the fastest, the guys that are working the hardest, the guys that are continuing to push the culture forward are the ones that are going to emerge as the leaders of this. And that's what we're setting ourselves up for. We want to be a leader in the new emerging film world.
Last week I saw something. I think it was quoting this test. I think it was quoting Michael Ruffalo, who said that actors should be investing on indie films. How do you access this thought? Because we think like, oh, we need to somehow forget about these largest contest of the film production. I think it was mentioned somehow, Marvel, let's say, to say like we need to invest more on indie films. How do you access the fact that somehow people, because lately we've seen that studios are producing so many superhero movies sometimes, and we are lacking sometimes. We don't find that drama. We don't find that Godfather. We don't find Titanic, etc. People have been saying that, oh man, we need more touching stories, because lately we've been finding so many superhero movies that sometimes is actually annoying us if you're allowed to see them this way. So how do you access these all factors in the film industry?
I mean, I think in the film industry or in any industry, there's always going to be levels to it. There's always going to be levels typically come with money. Hollywood's going to be Hollywood. They're going to still spend $100 million or however much those budgets tend to be for certain projects. But what the independent filmmaker is showing Hollywood, if they're paying attention, is that we can create great, touching, captivating stories that an audience will watch and an audience will gravitate to and become fans of without necessarily having to spend as much. And I think looking at the independents, especially during the strike, if I was any one of those streaming networks, I'd be looking at the independent guy right now and I'd be on his phone. And I would say, especially the ones that are thriving. So what the independent filmmaker is showing the world is that I can get a lot more done with less, or I can get a lot done with less. But naturally, there are still going to be those big budget films that require, certain capital to make it as great as it can be. I couldn't imagine Marvel, having to spend you know, quite considerably less to still pull off the big Marvel productions that they are. So certain things are going to still require that, but the independent filmmaker is showing you that there is an audience for our films, and there is an audience that will watch, and it is a revenue stream. It's going to be a large revenue stream in the film industry, I believe, in the future.
But how do you analyze the fact? How do you see the fact that somehow we are recycling ideas? Because there are movies you see, you can find the two different films, and somehow you see like the story the same day. They just change the set, etc. How do you analyze? How do you see? And what is your point actually about the fact that the film industry is somehow recycling ideas? We have been seeing this from since from the last 10 years, and we've been seeing movies, films that actually they have been recycling ideas from the 90s, from the 80s, etc.
You know, as I think about that, I mean, I think, you know, life and what we do as filmmakers is we take life and we recreate like our, you know, what has really actually happened day to day in a person's life, whether it's super dramatic or whether it's nonfiction and it's a superhero type of thing. But it's all of our experiences collectively. And regardless of what side of the map you're on, you know, our experiences are different in certain regards, but some of us are typically kind of living the same types of experiences. You get in love, you fall out of love, you go through some drama, You sell drugs, you shoot someone, you go to jail. You know, those types of things are kind of common, and I would think in the natural fabric of our communities and of our lives. But there are people that have different experiences, and I think that with independent film, it allows those experiences to be heard and seen, because as an independent filmmaker, we're a lot more accessible. And the people that are, you know, someone comes to you with a captivating story, you know, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen to what you got. And we want to uncover those different stories. We don't want to be so cookie cutter, but at the same time, there's certain elements in a movie that's going to equate to views, right? So sometimes you do kind of find yourself making sure that you hit those points because you do want the viewership. But it does also gives us the opportunity, though, because we are independent, to do our own thing, and to produce those different type of films that you've never seen. So like Sebastian, for example, the film that we did last, that's going to be like something totally different. The story is different. The characters are different. And it's just not something normal that you've seen. And so that's why we're getting a lot of notoriety for that film, because it's, you know, written, you know, Maan Robinson has the golden pen, and he wrote a masterpiece there. That we actually able to put on film, and it's different. It's totally different than what you would expect to come from us.
I saw that today on this platform you opened a filming contest. Can you tell us what are the goals? What are you willing to achieve with this contest? Short film contest, yeah.
So the goal for that is that we are in development situation for short films. I think short films are an underserved part of our community, and people are putting a lot of effort and quality into these projects. And I think it's an art to be able to tell an entire story in 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever that may be for you. That takes an art and a skill to do that. And there are some great short films. So our goal with that is to bring exposure to short films and also give short films a home.
Hello. So can you, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Really sorry. I think, yes, I can hear now. Yeah, I can hear now. So I was going to ask you about the process of creating something new. As a filmmaker, what are your skills? And can you tell us about the process of creating something new idea, directing something, the idea of writing a story, the idea of turning a paper or script into a reality? Can you tell about the process of creating something new, and what motivates you? I'm talking about the inspiration. What moves you to create something new?
I think that the biggest part about filmmaking for me as a producer, I like taking an idea, a thought. I like the process of taking that idea, thought, putting it on paper, to where someone can read it and visualize, kind of paint a picture for them. But my part steps in when it's time to make everything come to life.
Yeah.
And that's the part I truly, truly love. The part that I'm passionate about is taking something that was on paper and make it as something that's visual and captivating that people can enjoy all over the world. That's the passion. And the process is a very extensive, long, detailed, has to be organized type of situation where, you know, we're taking a script, we're dissecting it, we're pulling out all of the different props we're going to need, we're pulling out locations, we're sitting down with actors and, you know, doing script reads and auditions and just, you know, hoping that we land and find the great and that right person, dealing with the city for certain permits that we need, and making sure that when we show up, everything is there, everything is tight, and that way we save time and money. Because if you don't do that, you lose both.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in a production, and can impact, you know, the quality of the film. So for us, that process of pre-production is super, super important to the success of the production, and making sure that we get done what we aimed at.
So what makes you different in what you do? And before we finish our chat, can you leave a message to the Black community, Black filmmakers, Black actors out there who are somehow afraid of pursuing this dream of becoming the professional actor, filmmaker, etc.? What makes you different in what you do, and which message can you leave to the Black community in the film industry?
I would say what makes us different is that we truly do this for the culture, and meaning that all aspects of our business is to give new actors opportunities, new filmmakers opportunities, people that just want to be in this industry an opportunity. We talk to a lot of people. My door is always open. I love to have these conversations. I love taking someone who just wants that, just has a dream and willing to work hard and giving them the opportunity to get there. That's truly what fuels us. You know, I mean, the money's great. Don't get me wrong, but my true heartstring and the true passion of it that comes from someone saying thank you for the opportunity is really what this is all. And then I would say the last thing I would say and leave for a Black independent filmmaker is don't give up. You know, like, and I'm sure that's so cliche. Everyone may say that, but it's really the truth. You know, if you have an idea and you have a place that, or a vision or somewhere that you want to be, there's going to be steps that you have to take. There's going to be hard work. There's going to be late nights. There's going to be crying. There's going to be money lost. There's going to be money spent, money made. There's going to be everything you can think of that's going to try to deter you, because what you're trying to do is so big. If we were trying to do something small, like make an airplane, you take a paper airplane, ball it up, and pow, it's gone. But we're trying to push we're trying to change the world, you know, and that's not an easy task. We're building an empire here. So with anyone that's setting out to do anything, understand those processes. Don't be fearful, but use the fear. I say don't be fearful, but I say fearful. Really, I don't want to be scared of anything, right? So understand it. There's going to be fear that you're going to have. Get on the other side of it as fast as possible. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be roadblocks, road bumps. Get over them, leave them in the past, and move forward. But this is the time. The world is changing. Technology is changing, and it's providing more opportunity for us than ever before. And if you're somebody who has an idea, as a Black person who felt like you've been oppressed or whatever it may be that's held you back, get up off your ass and go get it right now.
Well, no, that's great. That's great. It was a pleasure to have you here on Chat of Legends, Russel. We hope to have you in the next opportunities and wish you all the best, success in your projects.
For sure. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the pleasure was ours. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes.
You have a good one.
Have a good day. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'll see.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you very much for staying there. It was a pleasure to have you there. We felt your presence. We hope to have you in the next opportunities here on Chat of Legends. So stay tuned to our next guest.